Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all honor, all praise, and all glory to Yahweh, Bashem, Yahushai, Bashem, Rechak, Wadash. Double honors to the elder apostles and bishops of the great millstone that rule well. And as always, peace, blessings, and salutations unto the hopefully like tabernacle of David that are scattered abroad across the four winds of the earth. Now, this is just a response to this video. This is Average Man Unplugged. You know, he kind of remind me of, well, you got a lot of these manosphere Jake out there that's, they didn't woke up to, the nature of these modern women. This is pretty much like, for years, women didn't have their platform where, they get to speak out about, their grievances with men and, what a man is or ain't doing and, just their overall discussion, about the men. They've always had, their platforms, their talk shows. So now that YouTube is pretty much the modern day television, men, they got their own platforms. And men were quiet for a pretty long time. But we're at that age where, everybody is voicing out and speaking their experiences and their observances, and setting up platforms to have these discussions. And these kind of, channels, they primarily, deal with the dynamic of, the whole dating market, the whole dating scene, how basically men are pretty much turned away from the woman and the behavior and the mindset from these women that pretty much turn men away. And so a lot of women, they're in panic mode because they're realizing that things are not the same. Basically the tide is shifting. All right. And, women no longer have the leverage that they once had because men are finally starting to, wake up to themselves and they're starting to acknowledge their worth, their value. So this video right here, they're pretty much putting it out there that the millennial generation, they're not interested in going out. You're not seeing them at these social events. They're not at these clubs. Pretty much the whole club scene is dying out. And it's primarily the women that are trying to keep it alive. They're the ones that's going out. They're and their homegirls, they and their friends. And we know why they go there. You go in there because you're trying to get attention. And you go in there to see what sucker is gonna gas your head up, stroke your ego, and buy you a drink and possibly you and your friends a drink. All right. Or to see what men you can turn down, to feel validated. That's the primary reason that they go there. And then, most of all, they go there to, try to, get them a simp, with the fattest wallet and to try to milk him for what he got. So the club scene, is just not worth, putting yourself into that environment. And, men are starting to come to that realization. All right. So I'm going to get to the precepts. I know it sounds like I'm kind of venting, but I want to, just kind of briefly speak on that before I, head right into the content. All right. And of course, we're going to get the scriptures because, in this truth, in this walk, we didn't seen it all. We didn't done it. We didn't observed. And at the end of the day, it was all vanity at the end of the day. And the environment, you just see, with a new spiritual lens, the type of pitfalls that it can lead you to. The temptation, all right, the demons that you get surrounded by. It just was not really a good place. And I'm, me speaking as a man, I was never really the club guy. I wasn't in and out of the clubs. I didn't have to go to the club every weekend to see, you know, what's going on, who's going to show up. You know, I was more so of a man. I like to be to myself. I had friends in the world when I was younger, but coming into the truth, you meet brothers, and you had that bond with brothers to the point where you it's like you don't even feel the need to go out. You might go out, once in a while. You probably go eat, or you might even go to like a bar or a lounge or something, which is kind of a little more conservative than the actual nightclub. You go there and you get you a drink, listen to some music, chop it up. You might see a few women sitting by. They might come to you, or you might, lock eyes with somebody. Y'all might start conversating and hit it off, or whatever the case may be. But just that overall environment is dying off. All right. So anyway, let me start playing this video, and then we're gonna get to the scriptures.
Be honest. And this is for the women that complain about, oh, men don't approach me anymore. Men don't want to go out anymore. The clubs are empty. The bars are empty. The truth is, men were never really interested in going out. And judging by, women saying that the bars are empty, still seems like that's the case. The only reason why we did that was to court women and to talk to women. But like with the modern women in 2025, it ain't worth going out no more. And I'm not saying...
Yeah, nowadays is pointless. Because before you can even have a decent conversation, she's going to be concerned with if you're going to be the first to pull out and make that offer. You're going to come out your pockets. That's what she's anticipating before anything. And let you not be attractive to her. That's what she's going to expect from the gate. So it's pointless. You lose money on your way in. And later in the video, there's one comedian, he breaks it all down, and I was like, wow, he hit it right on the head, man, right on the money. All right, it's pointless, man. And now that spirit is dying out, and that's a good thing. All right, but let me finish this out.
Like you can't go out, like, and chop it up with your boys once in a while. But in terms of going out to pursue women, like, it's not worth it anymore. And if you think I'm lying, just take a look at your guy friends. I bet you their lives are mad simple, and they could like go 6 months without even going to the club or to the bar or like to anywhere. They could just chill, hibernate in the crib and just chill. Because the reality is, like,
yeah, what you're doing in the club, you can pretty much do at the crib. Turn on the music that you like. You got you got your own drink. Every brother that do drink, I'm pretty sure they got their own little setup. And me personally, I'm not really a heavy drinker, but I only drink when I'm socializing with the IQM. And that's really primarily on the weekends when we meet up and do our live class, our live streams. After that, we say our prayers, we anoint ourselves, say our prayer. Then after that, turn on the music or whatever. And, brothers will have a drink or two, and that'll be the night. I ain't got to go out there in the club where they're going to charge you an arm and a leg to get in, and then the drinks are ridiculous. And then if you meeting with some females, they're going to expect you to buy them, so you're just losing money. And for a lot of the times, dudes, they spend all that money, and the chick don't even leave out with you. They leaving with their homegirls that they came with. Some of them might have had a lot to drink, so one of them is carrying them out the environment, taking them back to the car. They can't even walk on in their shoes without stumbling and falling. And that's the thing, that women ain't supposed to be wandering around like that. And we see that all the time out here. We're really in every major city you see that, but You come out here and, a Thursday night, a Friday night, a Saturday night, and sometimes even a Sunday night. You got to be at work the following morning. People out here, they walking around, wandering around. You got women wandering around and don't even know where they at because they done drunk too much. Sirach 20, is it 26? It might be 25. Let me go to the 25th chapter. It talks about a drunken woman that gathers abroad. I know it's in one of these chapters. I'll read verse 25, but this ain't it. Sirach 26 and 25 and 25. It says, give the water no passage, neither a wicked woman liberty to gather abroad. And hey, the club, that's the ultimate environment where she's set at liberty to gather abroad and do what the hell she want. That's why they'll go up in there and they'll, dress how they want to dress. They'll get up in there and they'll, drink, and they'll try to drink you under the table. They don't have any limitations to their drinking. They're not moderate drinkers. Can't handle their liquor. They up in there loud. They get either violent or freaky. That's one of the two. You go up in there and you see a woman that had enough to drink. She's either going to get violent and want to fight and instigate stuff, or she's going to get freaky. And a lot of them women, they be having dudes too, by the way. So that makes it even more dangerous. So that's why these women are not supposed to be given that kind of liberty. But here in Babylon, under the serpent, she got it. So she can roam free and be up in the club. It'd be lined up, man. Outside of the venue, they lined up. They ready to get in. Tight ass dresses, tight skirts, mini skirts, fishnets, glitter, bunch of cake up. Them daddy long leg eyelashes, weave. And they just know that they about to get in there and turn some dudes down and get them a sucker with a guad of money. Anyway, that's not the verse that I was looking for, but that was a good one. So let me go back to 26 then. There it is, Sirach 26 and 8. It says, a drunken woman and a gatherer abroad causeth great anger, and she will not cover her own shame. And they're very shameless and proud in those nightclubs. Hell, you don't even have to go to the club. You can just go to a function where there's a bunch of women and there's alcohol. They're not going to cover their shame. They're very shameless. Start twerking and not just acting uncivilized. All right. So that's what you see in the club, and men are starting to just get turned off by it. All right. So let's resume.
A man doesn't really need much to survive.
I try to tell y'all, like, work hard, delay gratification, and you'll be able to enjoy your money and your hard work later on. Some of this shit is not worth it. You want to.
Right. Because, you get to the age where you start to value, how you spend your money. You're not going to be immature. You're not going to just spend it and waste it. You could be doing more valuable things with it. So men are starting to, they're coming to their senses, man. They come into their manly hard drive. Okay. It's stupid to waste all that money and you ain't getting nothing out of it anyway.
party, you want to do all this dumb shit while you're young. Like, I thought that shit was so cool for the longest time. But, like, it ain't cool to be broke, bro. Yo, I know it's hard to see your friends going out and having fun and you're not. Like, trust me, you get over that. If you have to delete social media, do it. Trust me, it's worth it. Ever since I started, just focusing on myself, grinding, bro, like, my life's been so much better. And those people that used to, like, get on me for, like, being, like, a quote unquote, and being, like, too locked in, now they're the same ones trying to ask me for advice on how they can be the same way. So,
A study shows that.
Yeah, and then this the part right here. This dude right here, he a comedian. He kind of funny too. But he gonna break it all down, man. And I think he's responding to this X post or this tweet where it basically says, I gotta pay to get in, pay for drinks, food, gas, parking, and the girls don't even be single for real and have to work in the AM too. Keep it. And that's hey, the man has spoken. What is the point in it? You're not getting anything out of it. And we know what the scriptures say. Don't waste your substance trying to please a woman. Sirach 9:2, it says, give not thy soul unto a woman to set her foot upon thy substance. Right? And then I believe the other one in Proverbs, it is Proverbs 31:3. It says, give not thy strength unto women. And that could be physical strength. That can also be, financially. Don't waste your wealth on these women. Now, yeah, I mean, nowadays, everything is transactional. Women expect something from, out of you when she giving you her time. Now, if she ain't worthy and she just trying to get stuff up out of you, then you getting played and you wasting your time. So it's not worth giving your strength, especially to these modern women. They don't have anything to offer you, and they're very entitled. They feel like they should receive everything for nothing in return. And that, society has poised the modern women with that mindset. It says, give not thy strength unto women, nor thy way to that which destroy kings. And you can end up in poverty dealing with these hoes. They'll wring you dry. All right. It said for a piece of bread, she will was that Proverbs 6? Proverbs 6 and Proverbs 6:26, it says, for by means of a whorish woman a man is brought to a piece of bread. So basically you can go broke dealing with these whores, these thoughts in these environments. All right. And the adulteress will hunt for the precious life, especially in the nightclub. She's looking for the next victim. And some of them have such audacity and no shame that they'll even have a dude in there with them and will still look for their next victim. And she got a crash dummy that's waiting in the cut. That's a matter of fact, let me go back to the video. Cause he gonna mention all that, man. Let me here we go.
Millennial men don't like to go out as much as millennial women. Oh, do it say that?
And that shows you these women been at ease. That's why, when these chicks want to be out and gather and, spend all this money, they're living in pleasure, which the scriptures do say, she that liveth in pleasure is dead while she lives. And that's a lot of these women, man. Just out and about, spending money, drinking. And the men is like, man, shit, times is tough. I gotta bust my ass to survive. I gotta watch how I spend. I gotta, budget. Two different mindsets. See, even the scriptures talk about, hast thou a wife according to thy mind? Don't forsake her. So you got women that are more reasonable and more mature, and they won't even agree with that lifestyle. Like, hell no. I'm not finna be out there in them streets spending all that money. Well, I know where this money can be going. But most of these women, they recklessly, spend their money for pleasure. Anyway, let's keep going.
I gotta pay for parking, gas, food, drinks. The women don't be single in there for real, and they gotta all work in the morning. Keep it. For shizzle, my nizzle. Keep it. Especially in LA, bro. Especially being 30. Like, I don't even care about the club like that anymore, for real. It's a crapshoot. I gotta pay. The hell was that? I gotta pay $25 for parking. Right? And most of the parking spots are already filled up in the parking structure. So you gotta look around 15 extra minutes for parking that's close by near the club, or risk parking on the street and getting your shit towed, and they gonna charge you more than your note to get your car back. And if I make it through finding parking, I get to the door, I gotta pay $45 at the door for guys. And once I pay $45 at the door for guys, I'm already $50-something in. I walk in the club.
And guess what? While you got to go through all that and spend all that money just to even get in, she getting in there free admission. It's completely different. Now, I remember when Kevin Samuels used to use that example, when he had his show, and, women talking about equality, but he would always bring up the example of, okay, well, what about in the club? The man got to pay for parking. He got to spend to actually get in. He got to get patted down. And then when he go in there, he got to get VIP, pay for the table, pay for the drinks. And all you got to do is just exist and look good. That's not equal, But that's how these women have had it. And that's why I'm glad the Most High is taking away that mirth. The joy is being darkened, and that mirth is starting to leave. And that's a beautiful thing, man. The men are tired of you. Trump is making all kind of cuts. So your comfort zone, your comfort zone is starting to dissipate. He finna make it uncomfortable for everybody.
I want drinks. That's crazy. Let me not have a section. You want to have the worst time in your life at the club in LA? Go to a club and don't have a section. Guaranteed the worst time of your life. You're going to get bumped by every drunk nigga that's singing songs. I got all my motherfucking drink. Oh, damn, get off of me. I don't even know you. Get off me, bro. Niggas spilling drinks on you. It's always that one dude.
And that's what, that atmosphere, that's what it provides, basically a way for you to, get drunk, extremely intoxicated. And the scriptures talk about how wine is a mocker. See if I could find that. Yeah, Proverbs 20 and 1, it says, wine is a mocker, strong drink is raging, and whosoever is deceived thereby is not wise. You know, you be in there and you be acting a fool and you know, making yourself look ridiculous. And then the next day you don't even remember, you know, you damn near caught on camera, people pulling out their phones because you don't even realize what you're doing. And a lot of that happens in the club. Also, it gets violent. You get tough. You get that liquid courage in you. You act like you want to fight, especially if the right kind of music is playing. If they playing any of that drill shit, any of that nigga music, yeah, you ready to fight. You ready to crash out. You get an environment full of niggas, drink, and that demonic ass music. Something's gonna happen. It's not gonna be safe. It was a lounge slash. It was kind of like, it was. I'll say it was a club, but it was promoted as a hookah lounge. They had, you know, a DJ spinning music. You know, they had the drinks, they had the tables, they had a little area by the tables where, you know, the people would dance or whatever. They had the food, and it seemed decent, but a lot of niggas start coming through there. A lot of niggas started knowing about it and was coming through there. And you know that we have a saying among us, you know, when two or three niggas are gathered, there the curses activate. All right, because anytime you see, you know, a bunch of niggas gathered together in one area, it's bound something to happen. Because niggas are under the curse. So this spot that, you know, we used to attend a few times, you know, the spirit had it to where we was like, we just stopped going. You know, we didn't like the way the atmosphere was changing, and the crowd, you know, more niggas started appearing and showing up. So we was like, man, we ain't coming back to this thing. Lo and behold, a shooting had happened, and they ended up shutting the place down. You know, that whole spot, it was called McFadden's. They shut the shit down because Jake don't know how to act. And I guarantee you, it was because there was a bunch of niggas in there. Niggas had enough to drink. They had too much alcohol, strong drink. They had that demonic music playing by the DJ. There was some women in there, and men they feel like they got the most to prove when they're around women. So egos got the clashing, situation ended up happening. Maybe a dude hollered at a chick that was with another group of dudes, and it set it off. And it led to what it led to, and they ended up shutting that whole place down. We even saw when we went over to the town center where it's located, we even seen outside a few of the bullet holes. So, yeah, that's why the apostles warned years ago, stay out of the clubs, don't even be going to them because of what can happen. As a matter of fact, let me get this real quick. Romans 13 and 12, and I'm gonna read it in the NLT. This is Romans 13 and 12. It says, the night is almost gone. The day of salvation will soon be here. So remove your dark deeds like dirty clothes and put on the shining armor of right living. Right? You know, we change our lifestyle. We're a new creature. It talks about the works of the flesh that is manifest when you read the book of Galatians. And all this ties into that environment. You know, it's where you're going to see most of that behavior in these type of environments, the club. You know, so it's better for your soul to not even go there. So, you know, Jake, they trying to save money and they turned off by these women, but it's really good for your soul not to even go up in environments. It says, don't participate in the darkness of wild parties, and that's what the clubs entail, and drunkenness, and that's what happens pretty much at every club in every major city. You know, late night, everybody's drunk, stumbling out of the club, fights going on, people talking loud, slurring, people throwing up. It says, or in sexual promiscuity, and that's clearly what goes on in the club. That's exactly what goes on. The music is playing, and you're getting your sensual feel on. And immoral living, or in quarreling and jealousy. And 9 times out of 10, it is usually over a woman in the club. The jealous boyfriend or whoever, or a dude, he tried to shoot a shot earlier and missed, and then this guy came over and it landed. So now he looking at this dude with the evil eye and looking for a reason. Him and his homeboys. It goes down like that. Parties, clubs. So it's good that we're to ourselves, man. All right. It says, instead, clothe yourself with the presence of the Lord Yahushua Mashiach, and don't let yourself think about ways to indulge your evil desires. So I like to look at this part of the scripture as like the nightclub scripture, So let's finish this out and then we'll close up.
That don't know he musty as hell. They got dreads and he's sweaty. He out there dancing to every song. Bing, 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 bing. You stink, stink, stink. Like, get your ass back. Sweat coming off the edge of his dreads, getting on you, getting in your drink. Now your drink is ruined. My dread nigga sweat.
Yeah. Niggas with dreads, I'm sorry. You ain't right, man. I don't trust no nigga with dreads. You gonna always, I've been saying it for years, man. And those of you that been, watching, listening to my videos, y'all know how I view dudes with dreads, man. Dreads, they got demons on it. You got dreads in your head, I don't trust you. All right. Plus, in Hebrew culture, we didn't rock dreads. We had fros, we had cornrows, like the 7 locks that Samson wore. Those were braids. They were cornrows. They was not dreadlocks. And that's one of the most mustiest looks, that you can have. I be seeing women with it too, and even if they kind of look attractive, when I see them wearing dreads, I get turned off. Never liked them.
Go to the bar, see a girl, you think she cute. Y'all talk for a little bit, loud as hell over the music. So where you from? What'd you say? I said, so where you from? Wyoming. Oh, I never met nobody from Wyoming. I hate that. I loathe it.
Or sometimes she'll have her friends there and she'll shut that down. We're just here together with ourselves. We're just here with our friends. We're not trying to, you have that too. Or we all have boyfriends, and the type of shit that knowing damn well what they really coming there for. So it's just a bunch of mind games. That should have turned you away quickly, man.
I'd much rather go to a house party where I can talk and hear people, but the music's so damn loud, your ears be ringing 20 minutes after you get out the club.
And that's the rioting. Going back to the scripture, which this was big in the Roman Empire, a bunch of partying and clubbing and drinking, and they was also having orgies too. But you look up the word for rioting, it's the Greek word komos. It's another word for revelry. All right, carousal, as if letting loose, reveling, rioting. And it says here, a revel, carousal, a nocturnal and riotous procession of half-drunken and frolicsome fellows who after supper parade through the streets with torches and music in honor of Bacchus or some other deity and sing and play before houses of male and female friends. And the music would be super loud. Hence, used generally of feasts and drinking parties that are protracted till late at night and indulge in revelry. That's the club.
Sound like somebody got their door open in the car. I'm like, oh shit. People spilling drinks on you. It's not a good time. Not a good time at all. Would not recommend. It's up. It's up. I'd much rather stay at the crib. Give me some snacks, order me some DoorDash, whatever. Put something on, binge watch something, hop on the game with the guys. That's safe. That's a way more enjoyable night versus going to a loud ass club, taking a chance. You meet a girl at the bar, you buy her some drinks. When she get done, she run back to the section where her gangster nigga with a big chain is standing. And he's been watching y'all the entire time. Now you a target.
Boom. And I said that. I gave the same or similar scenario. All right. Because that type of thing happens and it's common. And it leads to violence, brawls, shootings, stabbings. And we know that men, they love women, so they're going to be jealous over a woman. Why in the hell would you even take your woman to that environment? Why would you even have her there? Because these men, they pretty much lost their man card, pedestalizing the woman, Queen of Heaven vibration. So out of fear of not losing her, he lets her loose. Sirach 9, and 8, and this is what can happen in these environments. It says, Sirach 9 and 8, it says, turn away thine eye from a beautiful woman and look not upon another's beauty. And it's a possibility you looking at them women in there and they looking good. Some of them look like they off to the side. You don't see her dude. He's way on the opposite end of the club, right? He with his homeboys, his entourage or whatever. She on the opposite side and she turning up, twerking. She making eye contact with other dudes. For many have been deceived by the beauty of a woman. For herewith love is kindled as a fire, sitting at all with another man's wife. You sitting right next to her, asking if, you want a drink, you offering her a drink. She gonna say, yeah, of course. Another man is spending his money on me. He's buying me a drink. Now I can feel good about myself tonight. But she got a whole nother dude. Him alone doesn't validate her. She needs your validation too. Nor sit down with her in thine arms. Y'all have enough to drink. She can possibly end up in your arms, right? And spend not thy money with her at the wine. That's exactly what they doing at these nightclubs, these bars. Lest thine heart incline unto her, and so through thy desire thou fall into destruction. And jealousy is the rage of a man. He will not spare. Spirit of vengeance will get on him, and that's it. Crash out. And going back to that scripture in Proverbs that I read in Proverbs, the 6th chapter, the adulterous woman hunt for the precious life. That's how it goes. So you got to be real careful. That's why it's better that you just don't be there. You don't put yourself in that environment where you're chancing it. You're pretty much at risk. And when you're young, you don't understand that because we're men. You desire a woman. You know that's where you're gonna see women. You think that you might have a shot. You put on your best and put on your you smell good, your oil, your cologne or whatever, because you're trying to land something, but shit ain't worth it. And nowadays, it's definitely not worth it now. Seeing, what these women have become, and women, interrogating you about your pockets. She tell you about who she is, right when y'all start talking. These women ain't it, man. And you're not going there to get a wife. You're not going to find no wife there. So what exactly are you there for? You know why you there. Some of them women are there. They know why they there. And some of them knowingly got husbands and are still there. So, yeah. It's so many reasons as to why you shouldn't even be up in there. But you got Israelites, right? You got Israelites that still can't stay out of there. But yet, you going down these rabbit hole of pleasures and fetishes that's drawing you into condemnation but don't have the discipline to stay away from the environment that facilitate, those demons. You're definitely not in Yahweh Shah. You're definitely not walking in the spirit. So, yeah, man. This, the stuff that they were saying, I was like, yeah, this. I'm about to do a response video. This is right on the money, and he's being funny, but everything he's saying is facts. All right. So I'll finish this out and then we'll close it.
I'm good. Y'all can have the club. I'm cool. Baby girl, let me see you dance. Let me see you twirl.
That's that new Drake. Yeah, nigga, 40 years old, still making records like that, and wonder why everything that shifted. Nobody trying to hear that shit, man. Especially if you mature, you growing. That shit becomes old, man. So hey, the tide is turning, man. There's a societal change that's happening. And then Babylon is circling the drain, man. It's falling. The club used to be the place. The bars, the clubs, that used to be the place back in the days. I'm pretty sure. But now, that lets you know how far down the whole society has fell. So, and when Trump is done with this place, it ain't gonna be no kind of party. It ain't gonna be no type of clubbing. Read Isaiah the 24th chapter. It ain't gonna even be safe to even leave your home, because people are gonna be desperate for survival. And nobody gonna be thinking about getting to no nightclub. Some greasy ass wings and a bunch of alcohol. That's out. So yeah, man. Hey, the fashion of this world is passing away, man. And hey, Lord willing, y'all edified. I'm gonna give all honor, all praise, and glory to Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. Until the next lesson, Shalom.